Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. For those who don't know, my name is Danielle.
My name is Bree.
And I'm Bobby.
And one of the things that we love to do here on our podcast is review movies and television shows and Black culture that we should have seen by now, but we have not. And we are now watching them. So at the end, we're going to discuss our thoughts, our feelings on the movies as millennials, and we're going to rate them on a scale from 1 to 5 hot combs. So today on our special Juneteenth episode, we thought it would be very fitting to review Miss Juneteenth. So it was written and directed by Channing Godfrey Peoples. It had a release date of June 19th, 2020. It's rated R. And it had a runtime of 1 minute and 39 minutes. So for a very quick synopsis, it follows Turquoise, who is a former beauty queen, and she's a single mom. She's preparing her daughter for the Miss Juneteenth pageant. And the movie shows her journey and her struggles as she makes sacrifices to create a better future for her and her daughter. So, ladies, what did we think on Miss Juneteenth?
Well, okay, I have a lot, but before we get into it, something about it felt kind of nostalgic. Like at certain points I kind of felt like I was watching Akeelah and the Bee, like it kind of gave me that same, dare I say, camp, like it's so bad but pleasing energy. Not to say that Akeelah is bad, but I feel like if I was to rewatch Akeelah today, I probably wouldn't think that it was the best. And I just feel like this movie, it gave me like, let me not disrespect this movie like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It gave me a little bit of Go Girl, Give Us Nothing, but it still gave, it was still pleasing.
Oh.
Like, I liked it, but
Did you?
It could have given more. It could have given more.
Okay.
And that's my general overview. That's my general overview.
I'm really happy you shared your thoughts, Bobby. I thought it was cute. I have multiple feelings about it. I don't know if this is I didn't look up anything about the writer/director, so I was gonna assume this is like a subject that is close to him. Her. I'm sorry. Yes, her. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a good advertisement for me to live in the South. I'll tell you that. At all. Just for reference, I believe all of us were born and raised in the northern part of the country, whether it be west or east. So, with that in mind, I was like, wow, this is not a lot of things to look up to. Not a lot of goals here, but
I think they lived in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yes, I do believe that. Yeah, I thought it was cute. I thought that the timing for the release of this was impeccable because it happened before it actually was released in January. So it was January of 2020. Mm-hmm. So it was made in a year where honestly Juneteenth became a national holiday. People get the day off.
Yes.
Different conversation. But it was a year where that was a really big symbol. So I just love the timing of it. I know they couldn't have expected it any better. I don't know what it says about the fact that I didn't know it existed until now.
No.
But
yikes.
I appreciate that it was made because it's still something you can go back and watch.
Mm-hmm. I loved it. I thought it was great. It had but I thought it was a good movie.
Oh my God. Okay, so it gave you what you wanted it to give. Is that what I'm hearing?
That from the movies that we have reviewed up until now, I have had very strong opinions And there was not a point in this movie where I was like, why am I still watching this? Like I did for many other movies that we have seen in the past. This one, it was, well, there was problematic moments, obviously, but like, there were problematic moments in the 5 Heartbeats, and I still love that. So
there's no reason to bring the 5 Heartbeats into this.
Don't.
Why are they catching strays? Why is the 5 Heartbeats catching strays?
It's not.
Why not?
5 Heartbeats, a 5 out of 5, I think, or
when you gave it
a 4.
Yeah, it was a 4
or 4.5, one of the two.
So it was a shining review.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get with that. It was a good change of pace for sure. Because, like, I mean, we couldn't take any more shootouts, blood spillage. I do agree there wasn't a point where I was like, oh man, I want to turn this off, because I found that it was very relatable. Like, I feel like I could personally relate to Kai in the way that, like, a time she had like a stank attitude for no reason. For no reason, just because she's 15, and like being 15 is like whatever, and doing something that your parents are forcing you to do that you don't want to do, you have no interest in, or you're just trying to make them proud, and like you see how hard your parents struggle, and so like you just want to be able to live up to the expectations. Like, I can relate to that so much, and so I wasn't ever like, this is boring, it sucks, click. But it did lag a little bit at times. It did lag. And like the acting, it was cool. It was cool. But that's all I can say on it, really. I mean, the acting was there.
All right. It was all right.
Yeah. Even Kendrick.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute.
First of all, when I saw his face, I audibly gasped. I said, Kendrick. Nathan.
Is that Nathan?
My first was like, wow, Nathan, here you go again, being Dusty. Why?
Dusty.
I don't know. For those who don't know,
redeeming character at some point, like
from Insecure. We're talking about Nathan from Insecure.
Kendrick Sampson, I believe. Is his name?
Yeah, Kendrick Sampson.
Mm-hmm. That's
Nathan. Also compared to Prison Bae at times, but not Prison Bae. Isn't there like a whole trope about like the light-skinned men in Tyler Perry's movies, like
being the saviors?
Yes. I also heard something about, was it the light-skinned man that threw that baby out the window in 4 Color Girls?
Yes. Yes. Yes, that happened.
I don't know how this relates, but when I saw Kendrick, I'm sorry, Kendrick, to pigeonhole you, but Nathan is literally the only thing that comes to my head. But when I first saw him, I'm not going to lie, I thought about the light-skinned man that threw that baby out over the window. And I was like, oh no, don't let this be one of those situations. But unfortunately, he was trash again. He was trash.
I was more excited to see Nicole, who plays Turquoise. I think her last name is Bahari.
I wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
She is like a gem of an actress to me. Mm-hmm. I believe she was in 42, which is, I think, I could be doing this wrong, but I think she played Chadwick's wife in 42 as he played Jackie Robinson. She was really good in that. And then she also was in the very controversial episode of Black Mirror with, can't think of his name, but he's the new Black Captain America. She played his wife. And that's when I really formally got introduced to her. Like I had seen 42, if I'm thinking about the right movie. But
yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, she was a very good actress then, but that was a very intense episode of Black Mirror that she was in, and she did a great job. So I was excited to see her in this. And I will say, even though I have feelings about the character, I think that she did a great job. She did great. Nothing less than expected.
Yeah, I haven't seen that episode of Black Mirror, but maybe I should go watch it because this was the first time. Because I saw 42, but I don't remember anybody from that movie except for Chadwick Boseman.
I think we were too young to remember like the details of that movie.
Yeah, I just saw it because everyone else is seeing it. It's Black, Jackie Robinson, an icon, I guess. So that's it. So I should probably watch that Black Mirror episode because I guess this was probably like my first like adult introduction to her. And I just feel like it probably wasn't the best one.
As an actress?
As a character, and honestly, like, I don't know, like she didn't really I didn't feel like, yes, like this was like her movie, but I feel like something told me that she could probably do better, dare I say it. But I don't know, I wasn't like blown out of the water by her performance necessarily. I thought that it was okay, but I feel like I could probably benefit from watching more of her work past this, because I mean, I definitely got a lot of potential out of it.
I think that her character was very one note.
Yeah.
I don't know personally how much better she could have played the character, because it's one of two things could have happened. Either the character was written like that, or she predetermined how she wants to play the character and it never swayed. Like it could be like either the character was that one note trying to be positive, not really reacting to things how I think probably Black women would react to things, like in a normal day-to-day basis, and doing stuff that we wouldn't. Or it could be her being like, okay, I see this as a more like docile, not really loud character, and that's how she played it. I don't think it's like the best character she's ever done, but I am happy with her performance. I think she did a better job at Black Mirror, but like also you have to see the episode why it was better. It wasn't just because of her, Mm.
And I also really liked the casting for her and her daughter. Like I thought that they really picked that out well, because she low-key looked like her to me. I don't really know how I almost call him Nathan. I don't really know how Kendrick,
Yeah, we're gonna pretend like that didn't happen.
Casting wise, but you know what? It is what it is. I thought her performance was good. The daughter,
yeah.
Should we talk about the highlights and lowlights as categories? That
may.
You know what? Let's talk about the lowlights first, because I feel like y'all have a lot to unpack. Not forgetting her notebook.
Not the notebook.
What lowlight do you want first?
Damn. Let's start with the one that is the most controversial.
Okay, I gotta reread them. I ain't looked at it
okay
in a minute. Controversial, and okay, something I just thought I just, for me, and I mean, I think that was a very annoying trait to me that she had this whole time. I mean, I know people do it, but like in my head, I'm kind of like, do you not feel bad forcing your kids to do something they clearly don't want to do? Like her daughter, body language wise, just without even saying anything, clearly did not want to do this. She wanted to be basically a dancing doll, which is like the big thing in the South. But to go further into that, what in your right mind would made you pay the down payment on a dress other than paying for your life bill?
Yes.
There were some very non-adult decisions that this character made. And I don't know if it's because she didn't get to live the life of a young person. They alluded that she did a couple of things, but I don't think that illusion of alluding to that is enough to justify why anyone in their right mind would spend money on a dress for something that someone doesn't even want to do versus being able to see. Like, I see that she made it like a little game with the candles, but like you could also see towards the end, like the daughter really only ever did it for her mom. So the fact that you as a parent would rather see your daughter in a dress, live out your dreams, than make sure that she can see her homework.
Yes, that was one of my, I had said that, like, I wish that they had did the characters more justice, because if she was a single mother, presumably, or just doing most of it by herself for 15 years, she knows how to get shit done. You know, like she knows how to make sure that the house is taken care of and like the car is working or whatever. It may be difficult, but clearly she had to make sacrifices. And that is a sacrifice I feel like a grown woman would have made. Like, and she had said, like, I don't want her to be wearing a thrift store dress. I get it. I understand. But she ended up at the thrift store anyway. She ended up there anyway. So we could have started.
Didn't even wear a thrift store dress.
Literally. And like, she even got help from the people down at the barbecue joint, whatever it was. She was like, you know, I can add some ruffles here and there. And it's like, you know, you can zhuzh it up and you can make it your own. Like, I get the principle, but damn, you're looking at $382 versus $400. Like, come on, girl. Come on. I just feel like I almost couldn't suspend my disbelief for that moment. Specifically.
Yeah. The dresses, honestly, like I was annoyed because even the scene where it was like, what was it? Oh, she didn't have her dress because her dad didn't pay the rest of it, whatever. And she walked in her shorts and her shirt. I was like, why didn't you just give her your dress so she could walk in something instead of just shorts and a t-shirt? Like, I don't.
Right. Even if like, because even then, like earlier in the, I think like one of the first scenes where she was cleaning the toilet and the lady was like, dang, I never thought I'd see Miss Juneteenth cleaning a toilet. And then she took off her shorts and she was just wearing like a daytime dress. She literally could have worn something like that out of her own closet. Like, I know that she has church dresses or something. So that irritated me. That irritated me.
Yeah,
a lot, probably more than it should have, honestly, because I was mad.
Bobby, did you have any scenes that were really just grinded your gears other than the dress?
Okay, so it didn't necessarily grind my gears, but it stood out to the point where I wrote down the dialogue when she went to the funeral home. And Baker, what was his name? Blake? Bacon. That was his name. She was like, so what's up with you and your wife or whatever? And he goes, we broke up. She goes, why? He says, because she ain't you. Oh. I was sitting next to my grandma at the airport terminal waiting. I paused it. I rewinded it and I let her listen to it too, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is just so juicy. You got to hear it. And she said, oh, just like me. And I was like, see? And then she still decided to stay with Kendrick. Oh.
No, but she said after that too, because she was like, oh, well, you shouldn't have let her go or something. I don't know what she said. But
she said that girl would have drank your bathwater.
Yes. And I'm like, so this fine man, because first of all, he was fine.
With a job.
With a job, said he want to take care of you. And you talking about, you should just stay with your wife. Girl.
And truthfully, like, Bacon may have been my favorite character, I must say, because after they went dancing and they came back and he said, I need you to tell me right now, what do you want? Like, do you want this? And, you know, she, I don't know. And then he said something like, like there's a lot of women or something and they just don't know what they want or something like directly related to her. I said, wow, if only they could all be like this, you know, straightforward and to the point, know what they want. I want you. I will take care of you. I will make sure that your child is provided for. He let her drive. I know she looked ridiculous driving around the van from the funeral home, but like he let her use the car. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh girl.
I did put my highlights to correspond with this. I did put Southern men in love are funny and needed in the North. I do agree.
Yes.
I feel like a Southern man who loves a woman and know he wants to be with her, he let her know, he show up, he do the same things he did to get her, to keep her. And
amen.
I know they can be crazy sometimes. I ain't say all the Southern men, but I talking about men like him. We need more of them in the North, because the ones up here just be like blase. But rarely do you see a man be like, I want you, I want to be with you, and then not be on some like hood love type stuff.
Right. Like, oh, Bacon, you deserve better, baby. You did.
So what I'm hearing is Bree is going to be on the next flight to Alabama.
That is absolutely not what you're hearing.
Oh no.
That is far from what you heard. And I can see how you got there. But I do love a good New Orleans accent.
We talked about this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like the charisma that comes with what I see on television. I know it is scripted, but I like the charisma that I see that comes from Southern Black men. Mm-hmm. I am a Northern gal. I can't guarantee that I'll do what them Southern ladies might do. Nothing against Southern ladies. You guys are great. I'm just saying, we live differently. Clearly, based on this movie, there's a very different lifestyle. So if he's fine with my Northern lifestyle, I'm great with his Southern one.
You know,
maybe I'll take a trip not to Alabama, but somewhere.
Yeah, maybe not Alabama. That's true. Maybe no, nothing against. Well,
just stop.
Before we get ourselves in trouble,
before we get blocked by all of Alabama.
This is just banter, guys. Remember,
right? Like we're not being. I've actually never been to Alabama, so
don't aside. We love everybody.
Okay, yes. But some of the things that I did like, first of all, when they said the prize for winning the contest was a full scholarship to any HBCU, I screamed. The way that I would enter that pageant so fast, because what a setup. Like, I would love that personally, even though none of us ended up going to an HBCU, and it's fine. But when I was in high school, I did, dabble with the idea of going to HBCU or whatever. I just thought that was so cool that they would even toss that idea around, even if it was just a movie. I really like that idea. And like, hopefully the kids, got some out of it. Clearly that one girl's married to a senator. And the
fact that was her fun fact. It was so like, this is where the difference comes in between white houses, because that is your accomplishment.
Right. But one thing I'm kind of curious about is what did happen to Turquoise? Because they never really explicitly said why she wasn't as successful as the other Miss Juneteenth winners. Like, they had said that she was a stripper at some point, and I was like, okay.
I think it's all just because she got pregnant.
I think she might have been pregnant when she won, because they never showed the bottom half of her. Like they would never show, and I don't know, maybe they shot more stuff and it got cut out. Which brings me to my next point. But I think that she might have been pregnant and had to do things because, Kendrick was dusty. What I did, it wasn't like a low light, but it was definitely something I wrote down. I think this was like an indie film. That's gonna be my assumption. Because the amount of brands that was showing in this movie was like, how much money are y'all paying on clearance? I didn't see Coca-Cola. I didn't see 5 different types of chip brands. And I was just like, to me, stuff like that always worries me, obviously, because that's like what I'd be doing. But like, what if this movie gets really big? Now you got to get like clearance from a bajillion people just for your movie to get like, just for you to get money and profit from your movie, you know? I don't know. It was giving strong indie film, and I'm glad that it came out when it did and that it, you know, got it together. But I can just tell maybe there are some things out, just not even just including the branding, that was maybe forgot about or thought that wasn't as serious or as important to it. I think it would have been a great thing to explain Turquoise's background.
Yes.
They alluded to it so much that you wanted to know, and then they were just like, actually, it's not important. It's like, well, actually, now it is. And I need to see the bottom of her dress. Like,
now it is. And then all of a sudden, her mom slapping her outside of the church, talking about, and Turquoise is like, that's because you drank when I was growing up. Slap. I'm like, okay, so where did that come from? Like, out of nowhere. And that was exactly when I wrote down, I wish there was more character development, because I don't understand, like, I get where this is coming from, but I wish we could have like gotten a little bit more like
word explanation. What's the word? They do it a lot.
Like,
it starts with the
exposition.
There was like a lack of exposition in this movie compared to everything else that we watched thus far.
Right. Which is unfortunate, because I feel like this movie was literally made for us. Like 3 Black girls kicking it, chilling. Which I
was confused though, like with her mom situation, because like you were saying, like she just smacked her out of nowhere. And I was also confused because she's supposed to be like a deaconess or so, I don't know what she is. And then next thing you know, we see her at the bar, and then she's talking about like, oh, you know, I'll watch, what's her daughter's name? Kai. So I watched Kai, no problem, come into our prayer circle, and she trying to bring out demons. I was like,
literally,
like, what is good? I was like, is her mom mentally stable?
Mentally sound. But literally 4 scenes before that, she was like blackout drunk in the bar, and like, you know, Brie made a really good point when you had said that they might have cut stuff out, because that's exactly what this is giving. Like, they probably cut out at least like 4 to 5 scenes that should have been kept in the movie. They were probably cutting for time, because this was like on Amazon Prime originally, I think, which I'm kind of confused because I'm paying for it, but I don't know.
I get what you're talking about. The fact that this was not a free movie. Questions.
You know, I'm a little confused. So I don't know. I just feel like whatever decisions, and that could have been because it is an indie movie. And so like whatever decisions they had to make due to budgetary reasons or whatever, this is all speculation, but I feel like it might have cost them an extra star and a half. Too.
This is what makes me assume, because I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of things that maybe wasn't explained because it's the South and people know what happens in the South. Because my assumption as to why she slapped her is because, you know, they're very strict on like that elder type of thing. And the fact that her mom will go from drinking to being nice to her to trying to cut out demons to now slapping her. I feel like that's a different culture that maybe we don't watch all the time, like in real life. So it feels very weird to see, but I can probably put money on it that someone from the South probably watched that scene and got it immediately. Like, I had to think a little bit harder on it. It doesn't make sense. I still think things got cut out that we didn't get to see. And honestly, I didn't even know that was her mom that she picked up, because she looked to me just so different. I don't know why. It was clearly the same person, but it was kind of hard to keep up with the story. I did have that as my low light, the prayer circle. It was just like, there was just a lot of behavior in this movie that's like, do you not feel weird about yourself? Like, is this not weird behavior to you? And I hate to bring it to the cultural difference, but it's clear that this was a love letter to the South. It's very clear this is a love letter. They had historical facts in it. They had historical people talking about it, I'm assuming. It's very clear. This is, I don't want to say like not a movie for us, but this was a movie intentionally for people who live in the South or have grown up with the Juneteenth pageant.
Yes, I just Googled Channing Godfrey Peoples, who's the writer, the director, and the producer. And the first sentence says, Peoples was raised on the south side of Fort Worth in what she refers to as Black Texas. So like, this was her life, basically. And it shows, and that's great. You know, I'm really happy that she was able to create her story, because I feel like that's like the whole reason why we go into film, is to do stuff not only for ourselves, but for the communities around us and for the people that raised us. So truthfully, that is beautiful. And I hope that her soul has been fed from this film. But there's just some things that I'm confused about, Miss Girl, and I'm sorry.
I don't know. I just felt this movie was very realistic to some, not specifically to my life, kind of like we were saying, but like in general, it felt like I was just looking into someone's story, which, like we were saying, probably her story. And I don't know, I didn't, I think I liked it because it was so real and because it was so like, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't know. It just felt like different from the Black movies that I have seen, where they try to recreate something that is real, but it just feels like you're watching a movie. This to me felt like I was just looking at somebody's life. It was confusing at times, but like, I don't know. I followed it. Even the parts where it seemed to be confusing, things weren't necessarily adding up. I was still able to like follow the general basis of the story to kind of get what she was trying to portray. Yeah,
Yeah, I think slice of life movies work. Like for the most part, like I do like slice of life, and especially when it's Black. There were certain things that were so relatable. It was scary because like I actually remember very specifically there was a time when my aunt had printed out Phenomenal Woman and had me recite it to her until like it sounded like I believed it myself. And you know, stuff like that, like I actually really do appreciate looking back, because she was doing that for me. Like she was trying to like raise my confidence and help my self-esteem. And you know, so like the fact that she was doing Phenomenal Woman, I was like, oh my gosh. Wow, like that was for me, like for the girls like me out there that we were just trying to make it. Like we're 15 and life is hard, and so for that I liked it, because like it did touch certain parts of me, but it did also feel very personal. Like I noticed there was like a clip where it was the montage when we first saw the bar. There was line dancing, and then someone was putting salt in the beer, and I was like, that.
Yes, I was. What is this?
That is so specific. She had to grow up around people that put salt in their beer constantly, because I have never in my life, I've seen salt on watermelon, I've seen salt in lemonade, but I have never seen salt in beer. I was like, wow, that is personal. So like for that, kudos to her, truly.
Yeah, and I feel like you were talking about for Phenomenal Woman, it also was like personal for me, because I remember like my senior year of college, I called my mom and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing for my senior project. And she was like, you should do Phenomenal Woman. And I was like, I had never heard of it before. I'm not even gonna lie. I had never heard the full poem before. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And so that's what I did for my senior project. And that's one of my favorite projects that I've ever done. And so when I saw on the screen that she was going to be reciting Phenomenal Woman, I was like, oh my God, like I love this poem. Like this is something that like brought me out of like a really like dark and confusing time. And so like you were saying, things like that where it's just like relatable, I think that brought me into the movie even more, even if it wasn't like a, you know, a grade A movie or whatever. It still had different themes or different scenes or whatever that I was like, yeah, this is what's bringing it home for me. This is what I really like about this movie.
Mm-hmm. And also on Phenomenal Woman, there was a moment, I know what I said, but like I did tear up a little bit at when Kai, when she spritzed her hair with the water and then went up on that stage and did like her rendition of Phenomenal Woman. That really did touch me, because like when I was in high school, that was something that I was never able to do. Like, I went to an all-white school and I didn't have any Black friends until I got to college because, I mean, there weren't any Black people around me. And so, like, I was never able to, like, break that boundary and, like, really truly be myself or even, like, know what that feels like. And so, for the fact that she was 15 and she was over here standing up for herself, standing up to her mom, representing herself, and doing it her way, yes. Yes, Kai, you better stand up for yourself. I love that. And the fact that it was Phenomenal Woman as well, just really, that whole scene moved me.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so much. I was crying on the airplane. Just a little bit.
I loved it. Because honestly, when I saw her, she had her little bandana or whatever, and I was like, this girl's about to go out there and do the little dancing doll stuff that she wanted to do. And I didn't think that she was going to do the poem at all. And so, and especially when I saw old dude that she wanted to be her boyfriend or whatever, when I saw him running up with his little boombox or whatever, I was like, oh, yeah, she about to do a little dance. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, this is cute. Her own rendition of it. I love that. I love that part.
Yeah, I love that for her.
Mm-hmm.
And the was cute or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever.
You know, they're 15. Whatever.
Right. They gonna move out of it. It's fine. Okay, so was there any like highlights of the movie that you had besides that scene?
I had two. Well, I had more than two, but two that I haven't said yet. I like that it was so authentically Black. Yes. It was so clear that this was someone's specific Black experience, specifically a Black woman experience in the South. I love that they took moments outside of the script to talk about Juneteenth and like the pageant and the history behind it, because that's just something that doesn't exist for us up here. It's just something I didn't even know existed until, you know, we watched this movie. So I love that it was so, like, they didn't sugarcoat a lot and they didn't pander. And I think that's really big right now when you see things that are so authentically about a Black experience, is that sometimes they tend to pander to Black audiences. And like Danielle said, it more so just felt like you were watching someone rather than them trying to advertise, ooh, look at this Black thing. Ooh, look at this Black thing. Like, and sometimes, you know, I think unintentionally we get that from people who are Black that make films. I don't think they do it on purpose, but it's just something you don't see often of someone not doing it. So I really appreciated that. I also really, which is probably why it reminded you of like Akeelah and the Bee, the cinematography in this movie I thought was really, really good. I think that they kind of did that like overlay, that kind of oranges overlay throughout the whole movie, which made you feel the heat, which made you feel the South, the bugs. Like it just kind of added another element of environment when you're watching the movie. And it was like one of those elements of the world that doesn't speak, but it's very necessary to help you be in that world as a viewer. It took me straight to where this was supposed to be. And I was there the whole time mentally. This is the hot outside. You know, she got to walk down the road now to carry the cake. Ronnie, I think is his name. I don't think we called him by his right name yet. Kendrick's character, I think his name is Ronnie. The fact that he went to jail, which it just tell you how much the system is against us. The fact that he went to jail for shooting an alligator crocodile that was coming after him, and he went to jail for it, very much not happening in the North, and very much. Why would you? Was you supposed to let the crocodile eat him? Was he supposed to just let it be what it wanted to do? I mean, there are people literally go out in those areas and, you know, they fish and do all that and they encounter alligators, and he shot at one. I mean,
he was in a nature preserve.
Okay, I get it, but also
you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that. You're not.
Damn. But also, what was he supposed to do?
But also, I'm not just gonna I'm not gonna just get bit by a crocodile because we're in a nature preserve. Like
possibly die.
Right. What? So my life comes before the crocodile? Is that what you tell? In the South, y'all got boots made out of this animal. You gonna tell me I can't shoot it because we're in a nature preserve?
Yeah, that that was something that probably actually happened in her neighborhood too.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and when the owner of the barbecue, Wayman, when he had a heart attack and went to the hospital and the entire community rallied and raised money, I feel like that probably actually happened as well. That felt like I've seen stuff like that happen before. So like I really love the personal flair, I must say. Like she did it in a way that, you know, speaks to all of us in a sense. And I did put on here giving 2000 Black movies because and originally when I wrote this, it wasn't like the most positive take on it, but because you know, like sometimes 2000 Black movies, they're just like hella corny for no reason. But I also feel like people love them so much because it feels so real to a lot of us. And so I feel like that's probably more so where it came from. And for that reason, it was all right. It was all
right. Okay. I also liked how, at first I was a little confused. I was like, so we're just not going to talk about Ronnie and Turquoise, like their relationship. We're just not gonna bring it up again. Like, what was that? But then I realized that when she pawned her ring, her wedding ring, that was her like being done with him, because she said that she would put it back on when she trusts him again. And so her pawning it off, she doesn't trust him no more. They're done, blah, blah. I did think it was kind of weird that at the parade, he was just driving past and just staring out the window, didn't say nothing, they didn't do nothing. I was like, so why are we? It was just, I think it was just supposed to make tension, but I was like, it's not giving what it was supposed to give.
Yeah, we could have done without that.
We could have done without that, you know?
Yeah, I will say that though I didn't really care too much about her character specifically, I did that moment when he was supposed to show up to pay the rest of the money for the dress, and she found out that he went and bought his friends like I think that's what he did, the repair shop. He like spent the money and bought it instead and was like, this is my dream, I'm gonna try to make money for us. And then she just sat on the bed and just didn't say anything. I feel like that's just when you know. I think when you're a woman and you watch another woman do that, you just know like she's done.
Yeah.
Like, she's giving you so many chances when they're not screaming, when they're not hollering. She didn't even cry in front of him. You know, she held that tear, much like Beyonce, until he left the room. And it was just like, I feel so much sadness for her. I haven't experienced that on my own personal level, but disappointment in men for sure. Disappointment in men that, or someone that you really care about, to let you down like that. And, you know, she keep doing it. He keep doing it. She keeps bailing him out, keep giving him chances, you know, want to have the 2-parent home, want her daddy to be with, all these things, then turn down the dude from the funeral home, and you still messing up. I feel like that's just like something that you don't even necessarily have to go through, but you know that feeling. Like, you know how that feels when you see it. And I feel like the character choices and actions that her and probably the director made on that scene, I really loved. Because the fact that he was in the house just sitting there, and she was like, where have you been? And he was like, oh, you told me to come in the bedroom and sit, or whatever he said, the last time they had sex. Mm-hmm. That's what he decided to bring up.
Yeah.
He said, you told me to park around the corner.
Yeah, but you're not going to address the fact that, like, you were supposed to help me pay for our daughter's dress.
Right. Which he said he was going to do like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. It's that constant letdown.
Yeah.
I think anybody who has dated someone who has been let down by someone who's basically like a serial liar, or someone that feels like you have to feed into their dreams, and that their dreams, I mean, he had her at a Domino's game with drunk men, why do you think that's a good idea to have your 15-year-old daughter with these grown drunk men? Mm-hmm. Like, he was just doing a lot of things that made me very unattracted to him.
Yeah.
In the movie. And it was, I know that was the point of it, but it was just like, he was almost too real of a character. Like, there's too many people that could probably be plucked off the street that is him, that don't see anything wrong with their behavior. So good writing on their terms and good writing acting, but like his character was just one that I just was over.
Yeah.
I was over it.
I think at first I put that he wasn't a deadbeat dad in my notes, but then I was like, low key he was. Cause like, just because you were there in a sense and around doesn't mean you were there and around. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not supporting, you're not showing up at events, you're not, like, he wasn't even at the Juneteenth the pageant. And I'm like, well, you were at the parade, so where are you at? So yeah, I thought that was also very real. I think she might have also either pulled from her own experience or pulled from experiences that she saw in other people around her, because that felt very, very personal, that he was there but not there.
He was giving strong, I can't babysit my child today vibes. Mm-hmm. That's what he was, right. He was giving strong, like, not understanding that you can't just come in and out when you feel like it, just because you give them a good experience while you're here.
Right.
You know? Like, there was no, she couldn't trust him, rely on him. There was no consistency, but he wanted her to stay available until he got his shit together. And we know that sometimes don't happen in today's 70s. Like,
that is too real, truly. What a grim reality. And that's making another Insecure reference, but it's giving Lawrence and Condola just a little bit.
Hey.
So,
come on now.
Come on
now. I'm gonna just leave that one right there.
He was a very unsavory character when that was happening. So
okay.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully the Ronnie character in this gets it before he's like an old man that wants to show up for his daughter now that she's doing something big type thing. But I just think, unfortunately, he is just like a character that could be picked off the street, which is great because that's great for like what they created in the world. But as a viewer, I was just like,
that was hard to watch.
Like,
yeah, because in my notes I had put in all caps, Nathan, oh gee, I love you. And then like 16 bullet points later, I said, never mind, leave that.
I did put one thing in all. I did put Kendrick no. I put Kendrick no.
Oh no.
But I also put in all caps, all this money and you couldn't pay the light bill. And I said that. This is why I said that. This is why I was very confused. Maybe the timeline of when things was happening wasn't made specific, but like, so you didn't have the money to pay the light bill. You didn't have the money to pay for the rest of the dress, but you had the money to go half on a business.
Okay, like, how are you gonna have your wife and your daughter? First of all, talking about you still a married woman, you're gonna do me like that. So how are you gonna have your wife and your daughter out here in the dark? But you're out here making decisions for you and your business and talking about, I'm going to pay it back later. But you had already said that when she bailed you out of jail, saying, I'm going to pay you back later.
Wait, are we talking about him or her?
I was actually talking about her. I was talking about her. But yes, it applies to both of them. It does apply to both of them. But we know why he wasn't. It's because when guys do that, they're just like, oh, well, the woman got it. She's not going to let the child starve. She's not going to let the child go without, like, so they feel like their money is expendable to whatever they want to do because their kid is good, right? We know that. That's a thing. Her, I don't understand. And maybe that's because things got cut out in the movie. But like, I'm assuming this happened within like a month period, if not less, right? And she was still dishing out money for this pageant, at least 3 weeks into that timeline, if that's the timeline. So where are you getting all these hundreds from to put on half of a business?
And also, it's really not adding up because she had been, I guess in the beginning, it was alluded to the fact that she had been saving her tips for a while for this dress. So if you were saving your tips, I'm assuming that you may have had like a separate pile just for the dress. So what about the bill pile?
I was also confused because like you were saying, she was saving. And she said something like, I finally did it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what did you do? Because what was that supposed to be for? Was it for the dress? Was it for the fee? Like, what was this money that you did it?
It was for the dress. Because remember when she had the conversation, she was saying it was $800. Right. And then he ended up having to spend the rest of the money on the dress on bailing him out of jail.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like, so you saved all this money for a dress, right? But then you spend half of it. We know you didn't spend it on the bills. So you spent half of it or more than half of it on getting him out. And now a week, 2 weeks later, you've somehow accumulated enough money to buy half of a business out. And the reason why that doesn't make sense is because from when we start the movie in that world, and the start line is that you don't have enough money and that you finally save money. So there is no illusion that she had enough money before the movie land started. So it's just like, if we're just working with the amount of time and things that we're seeing, how you get all this money?
Wait, I think that she got the money for the business after she pawned the ring.
Okay.
I think that's what it was from.
Maybe, okay. I'm here.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
My comment back.
But the rest of the points still stand.
I mean,
they still stand.
For that particular scene, I will stand corrected on that. That's what she used the pawn money for. Because that makes sense. But like also, I'm not gonna harp on this woman's responsibilities. No, because it's like she also could have pawned that ring a long time ago. But that, I mean, she had to get to her breaking point with him. And unfortunately, it had to do with something that mattered to her, not necessarily that mattered in general, or like, you are inconsistent. Maybe I should pawn this ring. It came up when you wanted to pay for a dress for a pageant that I still think the daughter didn't really want to do. I'm very happy that the movie ended with her not winning, because that's what I think the mother needed. To see, wow, I pushed you so hard. I've made you feel like your worth is in this pageant. And if you win, I've made you go to this etiquette class where you're getting bullied. Okay.
We're not knowing about the salad.
And she was getting bullied by a light-skinned woman, which is a whole nother conversation.
We didn't even get into that.
There's so much in this movie that was very Black, the specific within the Black culture to talk about. But it was just like, she needed that to be able to see her daughter as an individual and not a mini-me.
Yes. And I'm so glad that after she lost, she wasn't over there berating her daughter, talking about, you could have done better. However, I will say it did kind of like hit a nerve when, like, before the pageant, she was like, this is a winning dress. You got this. Like, I would have loved to see like it's okay, sweetie, if you lose, but obviously, for the character, she had to lose in order for her to get to that point. So I'm not going to harp on that too much. So I'm just so happy that after she lost, it wasn't like you could have done better, you could have done this, could have done that, as so many parents do when their kids don't live up to their expectations. It was wrapped up in a nice little neat bow with the whole dance team and all of that. Like, I love that she was finally supporting her daughter and her daughter's wishes. And you know what? Do they actually give out dance scholarships? I wouldn't know because I wasn't a dancer, but
I believe they do. I used to watch Bring It, which was about the dancing dolls. And I think Sanjay on the show got a dance scholarship. I think he got one. It is a thing that happens, but it's more specifically to HBCUs because they have majorette teams and stuff like that. Which I also wish that it's just my own thing, I wish that they had possibly just like mentioned another HBCU than the ones that are always mentioned as that are the it schools. I know why they did, because it's a real life thing and people only mention like 4 schools, but it just would have been great to hear, like, even if we're still going to go to Atlanta, maybe Clark Atlanta is a great HBCU,
like a Hampton,
Jackson State,
Grambling,
that's specifically for like band, and like, I mean, it just would have been nice. I know why they did it, in case maybe someone who was not Black watched it, but it just would have been nice for the platform that she created making this movie to give a different school light. That's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with it.
When they mentioned Spelman, I went because literally my life my aunt was like, do you want to go to Spelman?
Yeah.
I did apply to Spelman.
That's probably why they did, because that's always like the first thing
that's the one
on the list as to go. But I agree with the daughter. Who trying to go to an all-girl school?
Honestly, I kind of wanted to go. I kind of did. Because when I found out, because when I went to Atlanta to visit Spelman, I found out that the all-boys school was across the street. I said, oh, okay, hold on. We can work with this a little bit.
You got to go across the street, though.
And it's not like they don't end up in the dorms anyway.
That's true. And that's why I was like, it's fine. Like, I can still have my little boo on the side, maybe. But it ended up not happening, which is fine.
And you met us.
And then I met y'all. So it's fine, like it was a complete circle. But of course they would mention Spelman. I was surprised they didn't say nothing about Howard, because Howard's always mentioned. Texas
I think
another big one.
I think it was because of the specific like Black girlness of being in the South that they didn't list anything that wasn't Southern. But I mean, there's plenty of Southern HBCUs that could have been mentioned. I just wish that in general in life they got more like of a platform. So I would have loved to see it happen in Black community. That was all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was a good point. Glad you brought that one up.
Well, we've gotten to the point where we need to give our final rating. So, who wants to start it off?
Do you want to start it off? I think
so.
Danielle.
Okay.
This is your movie.
Yes, I think this is the first time we've had the moderator go first. I'm intrigued.
I gave it. I don't want to say influenced, but I heard y'all's points. Okay, and honestly, they were good points. So I'm going to change my rating.
Ooh,
don't change it for us.
No, not
influence.
That's what I want you to don't change it for us. Okay, go off.
I'm going to give it a 3.75 out of 5.
Wait, what was your original rating? I would like to
know. I gave it a 5 out of 5.
If that's your 5 out of 5.
But that's the thing. I did the same thing for one of the other movies. I was like, you know what? Points are being made. And I still really liked it. I would watch it again. I would watch this movie again. For Bobby. I would watch it again. I think there were some problems, but I think it was an easy watch. I say that very loosely. It was an easy watch. The music choices were good. The casting was good. I liked how real it was. The acting could have been a little bit better. I will agree to that. But I also like how it was shot. I think some of the scenes were really good. So yeah, 3.75.
Okay, I take that one. I take it. I am going to give it a solid 3 out of 5 hot combs, and that has been my rating since the beginning. Just because, okay, so what I had specifically said, I would rewatch it again, but when I'm grown, because I had specifically said the same way I watched Tequila and the Bee as a kid is the same way I would want my kids to watch this movie, because I would sit down, I would watch it with them, because I feel like, there's discussion points. We can talk about motherhood, mother-daughter relationships. Maybe if my kids feel some kind of way, we can bring it up and have a discussion about it. So I would only watch it again, like in that context. And I also put it as a 3 because yes, it was hella relatable. One of my highlights that I put specifically was I love how Black this is, how obviously Black it is. I would love to see more Black mother-daughter relationships, more Black stories, more of this, please, like across the board, regardless of the production value, regardless of that, like the story was still about a mother-daughter that had nothing to do with race necessarily. Like race wasn't like about the movie. Like the movie wasn't about race. And I really like that. However, I did dock some points because the characters were underdeveloped slightly in certain points, and I was just confused in certain areas. But overall, it was decent. It was decent, and my Black girl heart does feel fulfilled in a way.
Great. I
Great.
ignore me, guys. That's just my life. That's my aura. My rating. So originally had a 3.5, but I was lying to myself when I wrote that.
Oh no.
My actual rating.
I'm scared.
My actual rating was a 3, right?
Okay.
And after this, I was like, I just need to go with my heart because I didn't want to rate it bad because this is our Juneteenth episode. But I feel like this is a great middle of the road movie. I think it hits all the things that movies are supposed to hit, Although there wasn't a whole lot of explanation, the timing was good. It had beats, it had movement. It was very Black. It came out at a great time. No better time to come out than 2020. It had great people in it. And I liked how they talked about like specific things like the dancing dolls and going to HBCU and this pageant because it allowed me, someone who never knew it existed, to know more about it. So that was nice. But I think there was nothing in this movie that really like wowed me. There were no like camera tricks or anything that I haven't seen before. I think it wasn't like the most bulletproof story. So I had a lot of questions, a lot of things we had to discuss here on this platform to, understand more about what was going on. So it was fine. It was a fine movie. It was, maybe a movie, like you said, will be like Akeelah and the Bee and maybe a cult classic for kids like this age. It clearly wasn't really for me or grown-ups, I feel, because the story really more so followed like her daughter and they didn't give enough explanation of what was going on with Turquoise for her actions to be acting the way they were. They didn't go, maybe they cut it, but this is the final result that we got to see. And I have more questions than answers. Mm-hmm. So I have to give it a solid 3. I'm thankful for the history lesson it gave me. I think it was a cute movie. They did use Phenomenal Woman, which I think every Black girl has either had to recite or read at least once in their life. So it was a specific one, but it just, it was fine. So a 3 from me.
Also, one last thing I just have to bring up because I completely forgot that we mentioned this. The R rating was not deserved. I feel like this is a PG-13 movie. I don't know why the hell they would rate it R.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I don't know. We don't know why either.
On Amazon Prime, it specifically said rated 16 plus, but I would show this to a 12-year-old. Like,
yeah, I mean, there was nothing in this movie that was so like horrendous that it needed to be rated R.
Like,
I mean,
really,
even PG-13. I mean,
that's still pushing it. Like,
it's still pushed a little to me, but I understand when you start adding like alcohol bottles and all these things, like you don't want to expose kids to certain things. Like I get it. It wasn't that type of movie to like teach kids about life, like Menace to Society. It wasn't that type of movie. Right. The kids don't need to see them drink at the bar, her mama drunk. Like that's not like a thing it needed to do. So I guess it could be PG-13, but rated R was a little bit.
Big stretch.
There are other movies that were inaccurately rated that we have watched that are coming up that deserve more of a rated R than this did.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
All right. Well, we did it. Thank you guys for listening or watching our special Juneteenth episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. Again, I am Danielle.
I am Bree.
And I'm Bobby.
And if you haven't already done so, please give us a follow and subscribe on our YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. Throw us a like, share the episode with your friends, with your family. Leave a comment below. Let us know if you have seen Miss Juneteenth. What did you think about it? What are your thoughts? And let us know any movie or TV show that you would like us to watch. All right, so as you all know, the street lights are about to come on. So we got to go. We have to go. We will see you next time, same place. Bye, everyone.
Bye.